News that Fred Vasseur will stay on as Ferrari's F1 team boss on a new multi-year contract came unexpectedly ahead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Vasseur, whose original Ferrari contract was due to end this year, has come under immense pressure from factions of the Italian media during Ferrari's faltering 2025 season, with strong suggestions only a month or so ago that Ferrari management were considering a change of team principle. But a new deal's been agreed before F1 goes on its summer recess, so what's convinced Ferrari that Vasseur's the man for the job after all, and why has it been announced now? Vasseur had to ride out an aggressive storm back in June when major Italian newspapers all ran stories at the same time ahead of the Canadian Grand Prix, suggesting Ferrari was seriously considering replacing him. The indication was this notion had been discussed to some degree at a recent board meeting, which was latched onto by Vasseur's critics. Vasseur has been under an intense spotlight since taking charge of Ferrari at the start of 2023, even by the standards of F1's most scrutinised team. As its first non-Italian team boss in almost 20 years, and with a very different way of working, he was an easy target for loyalists of the previous Mattia Binotto regime, and those who were sceptical of an outsider taking charge. But Vasseur has always shrugged off such attention fairly easily, and navigated the pressure better than most. June's attack was not followed up with an evocative statement of support, but votes of confidence at Ferrari haven't meant that much over the years, and it seems Vasseur got what really matters, which is real backing behind the scenes. The statement Ferrari released when announcing Vasseur's new contract reflected a sense of belief the upper management retains in his ability to lead F1's most famous team. Trust was a word used specifically by Ferrari CEO Benedetto Vigna. Normally, the second a Ferrari boss is in the crosshairs, their days are numbered. It usually reflects serious consideration at the top level, or perhaps even that the decision has been made already. But the fact Vasseur has come out of the other side, not only in the job, but with a new contract, means Ferrari gave its true support to him when it really mattered. There's no doubt that Ferrari has become a tighter ship during Vasseur's 2.5 years at the helm. While there remains room for improvement, the team is more convincing in terms of trackside execution, strategy and car development. Those gains almost yielded a first world title since 2008 last year, with Ferrari only finishing 14 points behind McLaren in the Constructors' Championship. While this year has been winless despite justified expectations of a push for both titles, so far it could just be a bump in the road in what has generally been a positive journey. Vasseur has brought a sense of calm and method to the team, keeping the political waters relatively smooth and ensuring everyone knows exactly what their objectives and priorities are. That means he has also introduced the correct methodology to recover from the current dip in form. As Charles Leclerc said during the launch of Ferrari's 2025 car, one of Vasseur's biggest strengths is his ability to keep the team calm, both through periods of success and periods of failure. Ferrari is always subject to intense scrutiny and criticism, and while there have been weekends where strategy and communications have legitimately been questioned this year, it's still a significant improvement from the pre-Vasseur era, where various blunders led to Ferrari's pitwall spawning clown show memes across the internet. There's more work to be done, but the gains made under Vasseur so far are proof that he's made a tangible difference behind the scenes. And who better to ensure a calm, methodical reaction to Ferrari's current struggles than Vasseur? F1 teams can be a little bit like oil tankers. It takes a long time from the moment you decide you want to change direction and turn the wheel to that change of direction actually happening. Vasseur knew very early on after starting work at Maranello that turning the team into his vision was never going to be something that happened overnight. The perfect example of this was in revamping his technical organisation and bringing in Loic Serra from Mercedes. A deal was agreed in the summer of 2023. It wasn't announced until spring last year, and Serra only joined in October 2024, too late for him to have any meaningful impact on Ferrari's current car. The Serra situation is symptomatic of the way that change within an F1 organisation has to be judged over the long haul. It's a process of laying down foundations, and it can take many years for this to happen, because the way contracts of prize staff are structured, with long periods of gardening leave and sometimes non-compete clauses too, means reshaping your staff is rarely the work of a moment. The building phase has been the focus of Vasseur's work so far, and is something that's perhaps only seen and appreciated right now behind the scenes, rather than in the full glare of the public gaze out on track. Only once the foundations are in place can something better be constructed on top of it, and only then can F1 teams be truly successful. There's been a lot of talk in recent weeks, especially in the wake of Christian Horner's dismissal from Red Bull, about team bosses in F1 becoming as expendable as football managers. But to treat them like that is to fundamentally misunderstand the challenge and scope of the job a team boss must do, because they are more than just managers of a race team. They need to be leaders, they need to establish the culture, and they need to get all the elements of their squad working together in harmony. Ferrari has been through too many team bosses in recent years. While Horner led Red Bull to 124 race wins and 14 titles over a span of 20 years, Ferrari cycled through 6 different team bosses over that same period. Jean Todt, Stefano Domenicali, Marco Mattiacci, Maurizio Arrivabene, Mattia Binotto and current incumbent Vasseur, for a total of 65 wins and just 3 championships, the last of which came as far back as 2008. Going for a 7th team principal would have been an acceptance of failure and simply put the team back to square one. As whoever Vasseur's replacement was, they would have wanted and needed sufficient time and space to try to do things their own way and implement their own ideas. Sure, Horner was available right now, and we know chairman John Elkann tried to lure him from Red Bull back in the summer of 2022 before signing Vasseur, but Ferrari has to have conviction that its current trajectory is right and accept that it takes time in F1 for things to be pulled together and deliver what's expected. In Vasseur, Ferrari has been through the early phase of a new way forward, where progress does not appear rapid. But as the Andrea Stella era at McLaren has shown, once things click, then results can come quickly. When reports first emerged about the possibility of Vasseur being ousted, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc made it emphatically clear they still backed him. Nevertheless, there have been whisperings of unhappiness from the Leclerc camp over Ferrari's stuttering 2025 campaign and suggestions he might have lost confidence in Vasseur's leadership. So what's Leclerc feeling now? He appeared in front of the media not long after news of Vasseur's new contract broke. Here's Scott Mitchell-Mam with the latest from the Budapest paddock.
It's no surprise that both Ferrari drivers have thrown their support behind Fred Vasseur and the decision by Ferrari to give him a new multi-year contract. Both have been firmly in the Vasseur camp for a long time, but listening to Charles Leclerc was particularly interesting because, as he pointed out, he's happy, it's not a surprise, but a few rumours were about, so he's happy that it's been made official. And Leclerc was actually tied to those rumours. They've been going around now for sort of 6 to 8 weeks, and there started to be suggestions that Leclerc might be starting to doubt his future. His faith in Ferrari seemed to be wobbling, and he was considering his options for the first time. But Leclerc has been absolutely emphatic, not just that he believes in Ferrari, but of course that he believes in Vasseur. He said that stability is very important and it takes time to build something. He said that Fred is definitely part of his decision about his future and the faith that he has in Ferrari to give him the car, give him the opportunities that he needs. But he also pointed out it's about how the team works, and he went a little bit American president when he said this, but for now I'm fully dedicated to make Ferrari great again. And while I think we can ignore that qualifier for now, I think he did genuinely mean here in the moment rather than, well, I might change my mind. But another thing that he pointed out is that he described Fred's overall vision as one of the big impacts that he's made, and that he's very good when it comes to the intense emotion that comes with Ferrari, which Leclerc said can hurt the team in difficult moments. Leclerc said that Fred always has cold blood when that happens. So no doubt at all that Leclerc and Hamilton are both very happy with this. But as far as Leclerc's concerned, it seems like he will believe in Ferrari all the while Vasseur is there. He may well believe in Ferrari after Fred's gone, but Fred staying is very good when it comes to trying to keep Leclerc, who is obviously entering his peak years and still doesn't have the car he needs, happy.
Next year's major rules overhaul is a huge moment for every team and will likely define everybody's competitive prospects until the end of the decade. And the foundations that Ferrari has stressed in announcing Vasseur's new deal are all about the next rules cycle, because 2026 could be considered the first real Vasseur era Ferrari. He's always first to point out that the job is never finished and constant progress is essential, but remoulding Ferrari is a slow process. Compare it to how Stella reshaped key aspects of McLaren so quickly and the rapid ascent that sparked, and you get an idea of how laboured the Ferrari machine is compared to some of its rivals. Perhaps Vasseur could have moved quicker in some areas, but to take the earlier oil tanker analogy further, others can feel like speedboats compared to Ferrari. Vasseur agrees with the notion that in 2026 his Ferrari should have come together in time to work much more in the way he intends. After coming unexpectedly close to beating McLaren to the Constructors' Championship in 2024, it made sense for Ferrari to take an aggressive punt on trying to go one better before the major rules change happens. So long as crucial work on 2026 has not been adversely affected by Ferrari's failed 2025 title bid, that can be written off as something like a free hit. But if Ferrari starts F1's new era poorly, then you can expect those in the Italian press who questioned Vasseur's leadership back in June to be sharpening their pens once more.